Rise of Kings Q&A session. Today I am joined by Billy, and he is our head architect. And Billy, would you be able to introduce yourself?
Yes. I am Billy101X. I'm the lead architect on Rise of Kings server. I lead the build team and help develop new expansions for the server and keep us getting new content as far as builds go.
Awesome. So, as far as you guys, the community, are aware, we've been going over tons of updates, and a lot of it's secret, a lot of it's leaked, we're aware of that. And we kind of wanted to give you a bit of a snippet, like an insider look, as to some of the processes we take to developing new content. Now, Billy is our head architect, which means that he has a team behind him. Could you explain a little bit about that?
Right. So, what I run is about a group of perhaps a dozen, give or take a few, active players who help construct the builds that will be on our server, especially after we update. They're the best architects out of a lot of applicants who apply, and they do a very good job. Basically, my job is just to point them in the right direction, just tell them to do what they do, and hope just make sure everything comes together. And so far, it has been. The team's been leaderless for a while, so this is me actually directing them is pretty new, and so far it's been working out very well.
Yeah, I've got to say, some of the recent contributions to the team are extremely talented. I would say, for instance, I think the most notable addition would be Jamsy Boy, just sheerly for the fact of, he's a renowned guy.
Oh my god. Yes.
Oh my god, he's famous! So we're really happy to have him on board, and we can obviously credit him to the creation of Winterbane, the new map that's coming. But I think there are a few people who kind of go under the radar who definitely deserve much more credit than they, or at least awareness than they currently get. Would you want to give any shout-outs to any particular members?
Right. James Boy is he has helped a lot, but ones that go under the radar, as far as I know, one of our newer ones that has really started to shine now was a player named Spider. He's just, no one really knew him. He was just some nameless guy who joined our architect team, and he did whatever he could to be helpful, and he's a great builder, even better than I am. He's definitely been a great asset. It's the other builders who have been really helpful. Melander's definitely been very helpful. He helped terraform the area.
He's done quite a lot of work.
Yes, he has done quite a lot.
In Oakdale as well.
Yes, Oakdale. Blangyman's done a great job helping out in Oakdale too.
Yeah.
Derpy Dwarf has been a godsend.
Yes.
Because he is probably the best builder I've ever seen. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, I wouldn't argue with that. His contributions, which I think we might be able to show off a few later on. But
hopefully,
when he doesn't build often, but when he does, it's just you step back and it's like letting a ball just charge through a shot. It's just like amazing things happen, and hopefully we'll get to see a few of those later on.
Hopefully, yeah.
Now, currently we're standing in some place that nobody would have seen yet. Could you explain where we are?
Right. Our current location is we are redoing the central city of Borealis and the central castle of the server. And we are taking the problems it had before, and we are eliminating those and making it a huge, grand, massive building, just shock and awe, just a giant build. Should we start flying around it?
Yeah, sure. Let's just give it a bit of a look around. We're currently in the throne room. As you know,
note it is quite incomplete, but we are making progress.
Yeah, and I'd say that, as everyone's aware, I think one of the main fundamental reasoning behind it, yes, it's nice to have a very pretty server, but the point behind it is that we want to make sure that the systems that govern the world, that actually make the server fun and enjoyable, are actually addressed more. So, for instance, the Obsidian Throne, which, yes, is a light riff-off of Game of Thrones, but that's about as far as it goes as far as actual references go. But the idea of our four houses competing for a central location, and I think that if you were to acquire that location, it really wants to stand out. If it's the one place that everyone's fighting for, you don't want somewhere better down the road.
Right, and that has been a problem in the past, is we've had Borealis and Central Kingdom are like, go fight for it, you want that, but we haven't really made it
desirable.
So desirable.
Yeah.
That is going to change, and you will see that later on.
So I'm just having a bit of a look around, because there's so much we can go through. We I think, well, it's understandably not complete at the stage. You'll see like tons of holes and such. But I think for now, you can kind of see the scale that we're working towards, and I think we're trying to go for like the best city we can possibly go for. And any thoughts on trying to make something that's so massively huge and amazing, but also not to the sake of finding players and making it over the top?
Right. That has been a definite concern about the city. It's in its first iteration, it was huge. It did have this massive quality to it, but since the layout was so terrible, players never found each other, so we redid it, and that kind of got rid of the hugeness. But the layout was better. What we're gonna do now is take the best of both of those worlds and make it so the layout funnels players together into a cohesive area, so RP is easy to find, yet it still has that massive scale that makes it beautiful.
Yes, I think one of the issues of the original Borealis was pretty much the layout. I think if there's, however beautiful a city is, I think one of the key aspects is that it functions well. And I think this is quite unique as far as central kingdoms go, but what we've gone for is for a city that's shaped like a donut, and with a central ring road that goes around that then breaks off into 4 clear directions. And the idea is that having a central road means that you will be more likely to bump across people, and that would initiate roleplay, which is the whole point of the server. Now with that, we're trying to balance out having all these multiple routes. Some would be more wiser to take than others. You're going to be falling into like kind of gruesome sewers at the same time you want to be walking highly polished roads. And it's finding a way of giving you the illusion of multiple choices, but all giving you the same destination. And that's the kind of thing that a player will never really understand, the work that kind of goes into that. But it's something that's always on our mind. It's never just making a pretty build. We'll scrutinize the prettiest of builds if it doesn't function well. And that's something, if you want to become an architect, is something that you'll probably have to realize.
Yes. We're building these not just because they look good, because they work well for the players.
Now, another part of the function of Borealis is the 4 sections. Could you go into a bit of detail about that?
Right. So we are making leaps and bounds of progress on this city, but we haven't. The only real one of the boundaries we have completely finished, if you can follow me, Joe, is the
sure.
boundary between the Oakdale and the Winterbane section. And as far as the 4 sections go, is the way Borealis is going to be split. How it was before is that there are 4 main districts in the city. Each house will start as owning one of these districts. Each district has an equal amount of very important and desirable builds within it that the players will wish to fight over. Now, I don't know as far as our war system goes, but it will be possible to take control of another county's area. I think that's how you get the throne, if I'm correct there.
It's a bit like splitting a pie in 4 parts. When you own all the pie, you own the throne. Great analogy.
Right. Now, if you can TP to me, I'm on one of the border walls.
Too.
Yeah. Basically, all it does is just make the split really clear between 2 sections, so there's no ambiguity between who owns what. There is not drawbridges, but walls that you can put up and down to like cut off traffic between them if your local lord so wishes. Only a couple inches just between them, so it helps funnel RP. Though there will be 1 or 2 more secret ways to get around these walls, but that will not be the most efficient path.
Yeah, I definitely agree on the secret path. I think if anyone's familiar in RP with the rat warrens, we love the idea of secret organizations, underground communities, people who break rules. We don't want to be the ones telling you, do this, do that. We want to see initiative and people forming guilds. And so although we do have the 4-house system, although every house technically serves a lord, we kind of want to see diversity brought into the Central Kingdom. So if you're a guild, you can start your own book club, mercenaries guild, whatever. Just choose where you want to settle down. And I'm going to start walking around this place, and you're really going to see like the amount of room there is to breathe, and that if you wanted to set up like a little community, how easy that could be, and how rewarding it could be, like having your own little section and struggling for power.
Yes, there's definitely enough room for almost, I wouldn't say completely independent, but mostly independent guilds and such to spring up within the city. We are making, especially on the outskirts of it, there's definitely a lot of open builds. Most of them are a repair job because in lore the city is very old. It's kind of ruinous. The nature's kind of overtaken it a bit. It's been around forever, but there are places that you can go in RP and in-game fix it up and use as like a base of sorts.
Okay, now on a similar theme of style, could you tell us a little bit about the style of Borealis and how you take the kind of challenge of taking this build, because it has to be something that's neutral to the server, but also stand out and be consistent. Like, where did you get the inspiration for this city?
Oh man, as far as inspiration for the style goes, I built a bit differently than everyone else in the fact that I really didn't even think about it at first. I just kind of threw together a bunch of materials that looked okay, and made a couple test builds way back when we first developed the server, making a lot of round arches and a very modular style of grids, very prevalent in the build, and we just rolled with it, and everyone made their contributions and edited it. And the style itself has a few main, like, mini styles within it that we all combined together that you might see within the city.
Okay.
What else was in the question?
Could you go into a bit more detail about how you're going to take the challenge of bringing that overgrown, kind of deconstructed look into it? Because, like you've just mentioned, this city has been around since the founding of Elysion, and it's not going to look very polished by the end of it. So how would you as an architect kind of take that challenge and make it into something that's both aesthetically pleasing but believable?
Right. So the real aesthetic we want to get out of this place is that it used to be beautiful, but now it's crumbling. And what we're doing with that is, for most of these builds, we're building the builds pristine as if they were new, and then we're deconstructing them manually with much gravel, broken box staircases to communicate like rubble, things like that. We're also placing vines within the builds, making trees build through the walls, breaking up, deconstructing the roads itself, things of that nature to help it look more wild.
That's great. Now, I'm currently at the dock. If it's okay, I'm just going to talk a little bit about the 4 sections a bit more and how that relates to the docks. Now, as you're aware, we're having a brand new map that has been drawn up. We showed that off in our last Q&A video. If you haven't seen that yet, I highly recommend you see that. It's it's a bit laid back. It's a few hiccups here and there, but what we're showing off is a brand new continent that's been drawn up. Now, one of the most important aspects of any functioning city centre is getting from here back to your original house. Now, if you're familiar with the current Borealis, the system is that at the 4 corners as you come out, there would be a dock, but also a bridge. In this new world, that's going to be completely removed. What's going to stay, however, is the dock. So here we have, would you say this is complete, or is yeah?
This is,
It looks really nice.
It's somewhat there. I don't know, the docks are alright. We might work on it a little bit more and add a little bit more detail. Maybe it look better with the boats in.
Well, one question I did see in the Q&A thread was how we're going to relate with fast travel, and is it going to be removed? Well, essentially, I think for the most part it is, only due to the scale of the map. The only reason it was introduced before was because of the scope, but now that's been shortened down, it's going to work a little bit like this. So, as a player who's left Adesu, which is the central spawn point, you're going to work your way through your own territory of Borealis and get to this point. Once here, you're going to be greeted by a beautiful ship, which I believe architect Denisco is working on. I don't know if we'll get to see any of his work today, but he's a fantastic builder of ships. I think if he can do anything, ships, and I'm just happy just letting him do that, because he blows me away.
That is his job. He's very, very good at it.
So what you're going to come to is a very amazing ship that would come at a cost, and you could then sail across to the land, because Borealis is situated now on an island surrounded by ocean. Not a big ocean. From what I understand, from this point here, if you had extreme render distance, you can see it in the distance. Now that's going to come at a little cost, and it's going to speed up your journey, and it would make sense if RP'ly you're transporting goods and such. But if you just like a regular player starting out, we're going to give you the ability to have a typical Minecraft boat and swim across, and there's going to be obstacles, and depending on what house you're going towards, the terrain's going to be different. So I would imagine the Saramek section's going to be much more swampy with rocks sticking out of the ground, whilst the Winterbane one you might be greeted by an ice sheet, which you'll have to either break your ship and continue on foot or some other means. So that's a very big focus of the navigation, and once this world is in the new map, then I think we're going to make the road navigation the most important aspect. I don't want to go on too much about that because you should all be familiar with how we do the layout, but if you're unsure, then maybe we'll save that for another episode. But navigation is the most important aspect and how you travel that road. And yeah, what should we move on to next? Have you got anything in mind, Billy?
Let me think. There are definitely some other builds. People want to see like the new city builds or the desert city build.
Okay.
Are we finished here?
Yes.
We discussed everything we needed to.
I believe so. There's loads of... We could easily go on and on and on, but I think it'll be
True.
really good while I've got you here today if we could take a look at some of the other builds. Some of them you would have built, some of them you wouldn't, but just to get your kind of insight on it. So I'm going to pause right here, and Billy, would you like to introduce where we are now?
Yes, where we are currently is a build that's been in development for a very, very long time. Something I spent a lot of time, just months on. This is a very large desert city located in that sandy area out where we don't really use. Its function is, in essence, it is a PvP area, something that our server does not have at all in any kind of fashion whatsoever. The way it'll work is, it's still very much in debate. We're still thinking about it. We're getting closer to the build being finished. The gameplay elements are still being discussed. However, how it will work is all there will be cart warps that will bring you to the outskirts of the city, and you can enter through one of the walls. There will be holes in the walls all over it, dozens of them. And once you enter the city, it becomes a area where the rules of PvP are changed. You can be attacked or attack anyone at your will, and there will be loot chests, not very big ones, but like enough where it would entice a player to go there, scattered around the city. If you want to like go treasure hunting, the area is a giant, it's a huge parkour playground for players to jump around and fight each other in. Note that I know a lot of players don't want a PvP area on an RP server, but this is completely optional. It will only be vaguely tied to server RP. It will be players going there will know exactly what they're getting into. It's not like you're going to get surprised and killed and your stuff will be stolen or anything like that. This is completely up to the player to use. It's just to help appease those players in the server that really do like RP. Who really do like PvP, but don't really have an outlet for it, so they go to other servers. Those will help us contain those players who like both PvP and RP.
So, I think there's not really too much more to show around here. What I'd like to do, I know Billy, you didn't really take as much part in some of the creations, but how did you feel about going around some of the current build projects such as Oakdale and having a look around?
Should we go to New Oakdale?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's go. If you do Warp Oakdale, we'll fly over.
It's Warp Oakdale 2, puts you straight there.
Perfect. Now, I showed this off previously in our last video, but it was nighttime and I didn't really want to affect the server. But now it's daytime, I can really show off what Cynical Shadow, aka Derpy Dwarf, is capable of. This castle that we're about to... oh, it's over here. We're about to show off is his work that he pulled out of his art in a day. That's...
very, very impressive.
If it loads. It's just hard to get your head around how he can build so fast, and we're really happy to have him on board. He's done tons of great work. Not only has he done architecture, but tons of illustration work. If you go onto the How to Play page and you've scrolling down and you've seen all the different masters, he's done all those illustrations. So he's a really talented guy, and we're really happy to have him on board. And he's been a real pivotal, I'd say, character just in the development of the new Oakdale, which last video I showed you everything that we're looking at now, but now it's time to actually see what you didn't see, and that's the actual livable city. So I'm going to do this on foot because I really don't think it does it justice flying around.
Oh yes, the lower areas of the city, mainly built by Melander and Blangyman?
I believe so, and I think Frigated helped out quite a bit as well.
Frigate did help out as well. They've done a very fantastic job with it. They really got the aesthetic of a clustered city down perfectly.
Now
Very impressive what they've done.
Now this is something that I like to focus on loads, and that's the atmosphere, the mood. What's the message that you're trying to convey when you go into a city? And I think Oakdale is a great example now of exploring a place that is really grimy, and I think the reference goes all the way back to over a year ago. Yeah, it's been over a year ago since we started the server now, or at least started building. I know, when Fuller provided a few screenshots of Sleepy Hollow, the film, if anyone's familiar with it, and it's this really kind of farmer's town, but really poor and grungy and full of dark alleyways, and it's just not a nice place to be in that sense, but at the same time be really beautiful in its architecture. And just look around, look at the complexity that's been built here, and like, we're in the heart of the city, yet we're practically blocked away from sunlight, and as you walk around, it's just, I fall in love with this place, and I'm just so happy. And if none of you have seen this before, then I hope you're enjoying this, because although I took personally no time in it, I'm just so happy to be able to show you this. And I'm just going to be walking around, and have you got any comments, Billy?
The good thing about this build so far is that what you're seeing right now is I think it almost is complete. There's still
yeah, I've
some
been told,
interiors that our interior designers are doing,
it's
but
just
yeah.
interior, yeah, that's what I've heard.
Yeah, it's some interior stuff that our interior designers are doing. This other comments. Yes, this is a really great looking city. I made the old Oakdale, and it worked for the time, but this is a massive improvement on that style, and it works out very well.
Okay, now once I've just finished writing this sign, I've got some really good points to bring up for the community, because I know you've got some itching questions, and these will clear some of those up.
Let's answer some questions.
And if you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm changing this sign from the stinky bun to the sticky bun. I noticed that, and I'm like, why is it not the sticky bun to begin with?
It has to be.
I don't care, I will abuse my admin rights, and I'll just make it so this pub is known as the Sticky Bun. And somewhere... wait. If I shut this gate, I can put another sign outside blocking it saying, coming soon.
Oh my god. I'm gonna pull up the thread I put on the forums. I probably should put it up earlier, but whatever. Okay. With some player questions.
Sticky Bun, coming soon. Okay, well, I know one of the questions straight away that's coming, and that's kind of what I really wanted to talk about, and that's the transition. As you're aware, we're going to have a brand new map, but also a new server, which includes a new IP and a new hoster altogether. Now, I'm not going to go into the kind of hectic issue with getting that all set up, but the good news first, well, it's all good news, but just some of the things I'll get out of the way, is that the hoster we're going to have is going to have so many slots, it's just unbelievable. The fact is, I think we're going to release with 100, but, you know, we just feel like starting with 100. So that's really great. We're going to have a custom IP, which you can be joining instead of the really long numbered one, which I'm sure some people will like. But now, more importantly, people have tons of work, levels, builds, stuff that they've really put a lot of time and effort into, and there's a big concern that they're going to lose that. Now, I just want to stamp that idea out straight away and say that's completely not true. Anything that you've worked on, if it's the money in your economy account, if it's the items in your chest, if it's the home that you have bought, at least to some extent, that's all going to come in the new world, and everything that you're doing currently is still safe. When the time comes where we are going to transition, you're going to be fully aware of it, and it shouldn't impact you too greatly. Now, in terms of builds, now, as you can imagine, we're rebuilding cities, so the homes themselves aren't going to be transferred. The exceptions are for lone houses that have been built, and if you wish to keep them. So, I know Blankyman has a manor, I know there's a cannibal tribe in Saramek, and they have a little home they've built. You know, there will be exceptions. All you have to do is notify one of the architects or an admin, and we'll go ahead and we will schematic that so it's safe. I don't know if there's really much else in terms of progress, but this will be a really swift thing. So you're looking around, and you cannot escape the fact that this is a farming city. and that's great. But how we're going to improve that and actually make that something that's not only known but role played and actually drives the economy. The economy is everything, and it's our most important aspect of the server. It's what keeps things running on a day-to-day basis. Now, personally, I think that the best solution would be to make obtaining land more easier. So rather than, for instance, having one massive field that one head farmer owns and he trains a few people and they leave, rather than that, but having loads of subsections, so maybe like 10 by 10 plots full of wheat, and you can rent that out, and that would become your trade. And you build your business from that little spot, rather than relying on some kind of, I don't know, fat cat if you like. Before we leave, it might just be a really good time just to give a quick shout out to Monsterfish. Some of you may not know him, but if you do know him, that's great. But he is the creator of the Conquest texture pack, and he has basically created this texture pack that you're viewing right now. And he has done an absolutely fantastic job. He's a great guy, and he is to thank for all these custom textures. Look at that smoke! Look at that, smoke out of a chimney. That's just incredible. But not only has he done stuff like this, if we go to the heart of the city, you will find items that you won't see anywhere else in Minecraft. And this is all available on the official server texture pack that you can download. I'll provide a link in the video description, and it's also available within the graphics section on the forums. So a huge shout out to him. If I can actually find my way into the city, I can show you an example of his custom materials. So let's just...
A few final words. As far as the city resources go, that's something we're going to be doing with Borealis, as the concern of the city is going to be important like it was before, is that we're going to put the resources in there that you can, if you are like say in Loth and you want to mine, you can go take one of these sections will have a mine in it, you can take it over and that will help make that area work out. As far as build team goes, I would encourage anyone who listens to this that wants to join a build group to please do apply and try out. We do give most players who do apply at least a trial status to at least demonstrate their abilities in building. I would definitely encourage anyone who wishes to help to try out with that. We could definitely use people. What else? I had a couple other things. Let me look through the thread of what people were asking. Oh, maybe about a week in advance before we do like the final switch over, someone will be making a thread about any builds you want to see brought over, anything anyone wants over. It just put once that's around, and we'll like announce it or something. I guess we'll just put a post in there where it is, why you want it to go over, and just maybe a screenshot of it so I can help find it. Since I built the server, I almost know where everything is, so I can usually find it.
Yeah, and yeah, thanks. Just before I go, last few things, I've been going around showing you these custom textures. Just look at them. We got like apple carts, we got like stacks of logs, we got stacks of hay. One thing that I know he's working on is more animated textures. You've seen the smoke, but only in the Conquest texture pack will you see, if I can find it. There we are, animated grass.
Love that grass.
It blows in the wind. So yes, I want to thank you so much, Billy, for like speaking today and for all your work that you've done so far. You know,
no problem.
As an architect and as a friend, you've done some great contributions to this server, and I would love to have a few more of you around.
I got up everything I wanted to say.
I hope everyone's enjoyed this. I plan to be making this a weekly series if possible, so if there's any particular aspect of the server that you'd like to get a better insight on, anyone you'd like to hear from, then let us know. And please do like, favourite and subscribe, since this channel is going to be seeing quite a lot of activity. And yeah, I'll catch you all later. I'm Joe Baker, and I've been joined by Billy, and I'll see you next time.